Okay, 2 nights ago we were learning the dinim of kibbud av ha'em. The din is like this: the mitzvah kibbud av ha'em we mentioned is both when they're alive and after they pass away. How do you honor your parents after they pass away? You can't feed them, you can't do things. So it's a number of things. For the first 12 months, when you speak about them or you write a letter, you say Hareini kaparas mishkavai or mishkava, if it's a, which means I should be the kapara for their resting. Meaning, if anything, God forbid, bad is supposed to happen to them in Gehenim, I accept it upon myself. So you say Hareini, I am kaparas mishkavai, the kapara or mishkavai, which is masculine, and kapara mishkava is feminine. Then afterwards, after 12 months, when you mention your parents, you either say Olav Shalom or Zochreina Levracha, because after 12 months, there's no more punishment. So you can't say, I accept the punishment that they would be getting. There's no punishment after 12 months. So how do you remember them after 12 months? You say either Zal, which is Zochreina Levracha, his memory should be blessed, or Allah Shalom, they should have peace, and so on and so forth.
What letter are you talking about?
No, when you write a letter about them, you mention them in a letter. Then you write a letter to somebody, and you write about your father. So you write, in the secular world, no, but you write. Sometimes they just write the acronym Hey Chaf Mem Hakam, which means Hareini Kaparas Mishkavai.
When you speak, you don't mention it. Something?
Yeah, it says both writing and speaking. You don't have to mention it every time you speak. In the course of a conversation, you mention it once at least. So then it shows that you're respecting them. In fact, the reason why we say Kaddish is also the mitzvah of kibbud av ha'em. According to many opinions, the mitzvah of saying, the concept of saying Kaddish for a parent is also part of kibbud av ha'em, respecting the parents. And that's why the din is, we learned already many times, you only say Kaddish in Ashkenazi communities for 11 months. By the Sfardim, they do a week or a week off or a week on, whatever, they're different customs how they do it. But in Ashkenazi communities, you say Kaddish for 11 months, and the 12th month, you don't say Kaddish. Why do you say Kaddish for 11 months, not for the 12 months? So again, this is all part of the mitzvah kibbud av ha'em. And the reason is because it says, the Gemara says, by the story of Rashbi, that Mishpat Rishoyim Begehenim is Yud Beis Chodesh. Most wicked people, not the unique Bilams and those guys, they're burning longer. But most, even the wicked people, only burn in Gehenim 12 months. They only burn in Gehenim 12 months. So when we say Kaddish, we're actually protecting them from punishment of Gehenim. So if you say Kaddish for 12 months, you seem to be saying, yeah, my parents were Rasha, and therefore they're burning in Gehenim for 12 months, and therefore I need to say Kaddish for 12 months, so that's disrespectful. So therefore the custom is you stop after 11 months, and again, what's done in the 12th month is different custom. Ashkenazic, we don't say it at all. Sardim stop a week before, whatever it may be, the different various customs. Now we also makbid in saying Kaddish, the Rebbe Rashab writes, we're makbid to say 16 Kaddishim a day. Why do we say 16 Kaddishim a day? By the way, that means if you're davening for the Yomid, you have the half Kaddish and this Kaddish and that Kaddish, you end up with 16. Why do you say 16 Kaddishim a day? Because the Zohar says the Kaddish works for an hour and a half. That's what it says in the Zohar. The Kaddish saves the person's punishment in Gehenim for an hour and a half. So you have 16 times 1.5 is 24. So by saying 16 Kaddishim a day, you protect the person from Gehenim 24/7. By the way, there's two things. Why do we say Kaddish on a yard site? Because now they're not in Gehenim, and if Kaddish is to protect them from Gehenim, but now they're not in Gehenim anymore. After 12 months, nobody's there. So why do you say Kaddish on a yard site? And the reason for that is similar to the concept of mikveh. Mikveh does two things. Mikveh removes impurity. Somebody's tamei, they go to the mikveh, they become pure. In addition to that, even if you're pure, it makes you more pure. Like the Kohen Gadol went 5 times in Yom Kippur to the mikveh. It's not that he became impure in between. But every time he went to the mikveh, it made it more kedusha, more kedusha. The same thing, Kaddish does 2 things. Kaddish removes punishment of Gehenim, and then later on, by yahrzeits, the neshama goes on a yahrzeit from level to level. So to help the neshama, a push for the neshama of the deceased to go up to a higher level, so then you say Kaddish, and that Kaddish helps them push up to a higher level. But there's a story, and this is brought down, and I'll start him into this a lot, but we're not. The Rebbe Rashab once by mistake said an extra Kaddish, and he was very upset about it. It's brought down in Sfarim, you're not supposed to just say extra Kaddishim. Extra Kaddishim are detrimental. Why? I don't know, but this is what it says in the books. That extra Kaddishim is detrimental. You're only supposed to say the amount of Kaddishim that you're supposed to be saying. And if you just say Kaddish randomly, one after another,
What do you mean Kaddishim? Kaddishim. You said Kaddishim or Kaddishim?
Is it tomato or tomato?
Kaddish. Kaddishim.
Is it tomato or tomato? Is it vase or vase?
Yud.
Okay, good.
Kaddishim.
Why is the Kaddish respecting parents when he doesn't say anything about the parents? Raising
By the child, okay. How do you, what's even better than Kaddish? Better than Kaddish is doing good deeds. Because when a son or daughter, whatever, doesn't matter, does good deeds for the neshama of the deceased, it's very, very beneficial. I remember hearing from my father's story in his time, there was, they used to have the Hebrew schools. And the Hebrew schools during the week was mamish mincha ma'ariv time during the winter. Right? It was mamish mincha ma'ariv time because after public school, that's when the minyan would daven mincha ma'ariv. So there was a teacher that lost a parent and he had to say Kaddish. The problem was that was the time when he was teaching Hebrew school. Teaching kids Yiddishkeit. So he wrote to, I don't remember if it's the Rebbe or the Friedrich Rebbe. They wrote in and he says he has a dilemma. He has to say Kaddish, but at the same time, it's going to be at the expense of teaching kids. So the Rebbe, whichever one it was, said to him, where would you think that learning with children Torah is more beneficial for the neshama than saying Kaddish? What's Kaddish? Kaddish is you're sanctifying the name of Hashem. So when the child is sanctifying the name of Hashem, it's beneficial. That doesn't speak about the parents. But doing good deeds for the parents' merit, that's kibbud avayim. In fact, there's a very interesting shaila. There were, let's say, 5 sons that had to say Kaddish. And the father, before he died, commanded that one son should not be saying Kaddish. Whatever, he didn't like that son, I guess. He said, I don't want him to say Kaddish. So the poskim write, he has to say Kaddish anyway. Why? Because if he doesn't, listen to this, people are going to think he's a legitimate child. All the other boys are saying Kaddish. They're not going to know that the father commanded, ordered before he died that the kid. They're going to see in shul 4 sons are saying Kaddish, and the 5th son is not going to say Kaddish. What are they going to think? Either he's a mamzer or something illegitimate. So then it's going to hurt the child, and then the mitzvah kibbud avayim doesn't apply. What?
So you have a person has 5 children and he passes away. If the whole purpose of Kaddish is for sake of Gehenna, why do you need 5 children?
5. Why can't one do it?
Yeah.
But the union of Kaddish, like we said, is also kibbud avayim. So each child has a personal mitzvah of kibbud avayim. I'll give you a simple example. A guy has 1 child that says Kaddish. It saves him from Gehenna. Okay, he has 5 children, 5 sons. It saves him more from Gehenna? No. Right? The Kaddish saves the person from Gehenna. So like you say, why does each son have to say Kaddish? He has a personal obligation to honor his parents by saying Kaddish.
It's no different than if he was alive during the regular year, that you should give him kibbutz.
Right, 100%. So if you have five brothers, 5 siblings, say, okay, you know what, you guys honor him, I don't have to. It doesn't work like that. There's a chiyuv on the person that he has to honor his parent.
So, and also, if a person can't make it to Kaddish one day, should he just start teaching children Torah?
It would be good to do something else instead. You should do something else instead. Yeah. But the main thing is, B'chlal, is brought down in halacha, as long as somebody is saying Kaddish, it's already not that bad. Let's see, there's a number of siblings. Yeah, I'll give you a simple example. People travel. Yeah, they come to the funeral and then they're traveling home, overseas. They don't always have a minyan on the plane. Right? It's going to inevitably miss Kaddish. So it says in halacha, the fact that there's other brothers saying Kaddish, it's okay. Because at least somebody is saying Kaddish for them. If the person's able to say Kaddish, he has to say Kaddish.
They can appoint somebody else to say it.
If there's no other siblings, then what happens? Somebody has only daughters. So now in America, the daughters say Kaddish. Okay, that's not so. But what do? So then you hired somebody to say Kaddish. It's not as good, obviously, as a natural child saying Kaddish, but you have no choice. The girls can't say Kaddish, and somebody should be saying Kaddish, so what?
The reason not to say more than 16 is not to show that he's in Russia that needs more Kaddish.
No, if it says an hour and a half, he saved an hour and a half. What's the...
Like so to speak.
No.
If the woman say Kaddish, is it detrimental to the...
Is it detrimental to the neshama? Probably not. In bottom line halacha, it's very, very discouraged for a woman to say Kaddish. If she says Kaddish, you don't have to, I'm not talking about Meir Sha'ar in those places. You don't stone her. But it says in halacha that a man should say Kaddish louder than her. That you don't hear the actual voice of the woman. So even if, let's say nobody else is saying Kaddish in shul, and the woman comes to say Kaddish, halacha says a man should say, that's allowed to, obviously, that doesn't have parents, should say Kaddish louder than her, just because out of respect to the shul.
But she has also mitzvah kibbutz.
The mitzvah kibbutz avayim, but she not by saying Kaddish, because she has to do it in her own way.
Which would be
Ma'asem Tevim. Tzedakah, Ma'asem Tevim. Besides the fact that a married woman has less of an obligation to kibbutz avayim anyway. But even let's say the woman's not married, singles, where she has a mitzvah kibbutz avayim, but still, you honor the way the Torah says Tanner. What?
16 Kaddish, but on days of Kriya, you have another one.
Huh?
On the day of Kriya, you have another Kaddish.
No. So you don't. There's a cheshbon of the Kaddish that you say. You just don't go around every minyan saying Kaddish 30 times.
Huh?
I know one time the rabbi told us why the Kaddish come by Aramid. You told us.
Yeah, what did I tell you then? Why is Kaddish in Aramaic?
Yes, why?
You remember the answer?
No, if I know, we'll ask. I remember you told us.
Because that was the language they spoke in those days. And Kaddish, the Gemara says, was originally instituted for kids under bar mitzvah. The original Kaddish was instituted for kids under bar mitzvah that couldn't daven for the Yomid. So they were saying Kaddish. And because their language in the time of the Gemara was Aramaic, so that was the language the Kaddish was said, and traditionally keep it up that way. Okay,